Hey people, hope everyone's good. I thought this would be a good idea to sort of show you the breakdown of my song in the morning. Um, this song I've just released on Friday, the 26th of March. If you haven't checked it out, the links will be in the description. And if you have and you like the song, this will be a good video because you can see how I sort of came with the process and sort of got the song together. So let me actually start with the drums, even though the keys are sort of highlighted. Very 90s inspired. Got a lot of Jay Dilla sort of influences in the drums. And just play the drums sort of how it let's just play the drums. So you can hear already like the sort of 90s influence on that. I made sure that all the sort of parts of the drums weren't quantized to sort of give it that sort of natural feel. And then also what I did was made sure that these sounds were very transient. So for example, the kick, well, this is a snare actually. No, this is a kick, sorry. The kick, I made sure that I took away a lot of the sort of sub frequencies to allow for the actual sub bass that I have on the track to sit there. I think this was one of the frequencies that I wanted to sort of like pop out. And then one thing I did as well was to add a transient designer, and this really makes sort of any sort of sound like that have a bit more attack, and then you control how long that attack goes on for with the sustain sort of function. And so about the plugins that I've used, this is what the kick sounds like, the drum sound like. It sounds very dull, just to let you know. But I'll play it. Here we go. With the plugins, already you can hear the snare like in your face, which is what I like about this specific transient designer. I like it so much. It's very just so nice. Really sort of makes your drums and any other instruments that you have that you want to sort of like really hit, like it makes it very prominent in the mix. So that's the drums really. Sub bass that I used on this was a preset I have, a Logic preset. I didn't pay money for any synths. I used I just sort of like messed around with the buttons, and then I sort of had a sound that I liked, and I made a bass called the Josh Tenor Soul bass, and I liked it. It sounded pretty cool, and this is what it sounds like on its own. So yeah, so you can see it's very smooth. Where I was talking about the kick, where I've sort of taken away a lot of those lower frequencies, I've made sure that the actual frequencies have been sort of dynamically EQ'd. So people who don't know what dynamic EQ is, essentially is you're controlling, I guess, the volume of certain frequencies. So for example, with this one, I knew that the higher notes on the sub bass would sort of attract these sort of frequencies, and thus I had to control for that and I guess compress it, I guess, set a threshold and make sure that it doesn't go above that threshold, and just generally speaking, I just added a bit of sausage fat. And this plugin is so powerful. I didn't even sort of change it that much or add much to it. It's just like a tiny different, like a tiny sort of like a knob twist will make so much impact to like whatever you're sort of trying to make fat. And then I just added a compressor to sort of make it like even dynamically. So yeah, so I used two main presets in the same synth. I used a synth VST called Pigments. This is very good for sort of very ambient, atmospheric sort of music. And when I sort of make music like that, this is the first synth I sort of always pull up. So for example, on Pigments, this is the whistle sort of synth in the verse. So this is the verse. I'll play it.
The new day is dawning, it's that calling in the morning, 7 a.m.
that's a synth. Literally, it's just like a, and you see, I haven't got any sort of effects on it because it's just nice already. So yeah, and then the other pigment synth that I used, or the pigment preset that I used, was at the start here. So let me just uncycle that. This is sort of the start. You can hear the synth that I used. So that was that, and then also I had the start. It's not a synth, but this is just the violin in the starts. It's just sort of like a drone, and I sort of like this because I was listening to a lot of Tom Mish's sort of old stuff, like 2015, and Tom Misch used a lot of like drones in the songs to sort of set like this ambient sort of tone. And I sort of like it. It just, I don't know, it just gives it a bit more like a bit of a spark to it. So at the start, I really had that. So yeah. And it's just that. Yeah. So then we move on to the chords, and I use a Rhodes. I found this Rhodes preset on the internet when I first had my set up in my bedroom, and this is such a nice, like, realistic preset. Currently I'm not using this anymore. I'm using a VST called Stage 73 by Arturia for my Rhodes sounds nowadays. But when I didn't have that, I was using this. And yeah, so you guys know how the intro goes. And that's just the MIDI acting up. But the chords are, if I can remember correctly, so the chords are a D major 7 with like a 9, and then we move up a tritone to a flat minor, like a 9 with like a 11 as well, and then we go down to a G major 7, and then it finishes on a, well, it doesn't finish, it goes to a E with like a the 6, and then the 9, and it finishes on the A major A major A. So that movement is sort of nice. So altogether, it's and there's the chords. And generally speaking, I had sort of a variation. It wasn't like complete, copy and paste. But I think the keys really add like a bit more to it, and that was what I was sort of missing when I first recorded it. But yeah, here is what it sounds like on its own. And then when the keys are involved, you hear a bit more. It's a bit more open, a bit more nice. It's just a bit more inviting. Yeah, so there is the keys. I think EQ wise, I think I took away a lot of the low end of the Rhodes. Yeah, I took away a lot of the low end of the Rhodes. And then these frequencies were just to sort of try and emphasize that sort of belly sound. The piano, I think I just added a bit of saturation on that. Added some EQ. Don't think I really Yeah, I didn't really do much EQ on that because it is a pretty nice like sounding VST anyway. Jazz Lee here. Who is, I think he's so sick. If you haven't checked out Jazz Lee is like an amazing saxophone player. Like he's played like likes of like Tom Misch and Celeste and Alpha Mist, and to name a few people. And I think this was like the second to last recording session for this song, and I think I met him 2 weeks prior through a friend, and I heard him. I was like, this guy is amazing in sax. So I thought, come and let's record some stuff. So he came down and we did record some stuff. And yeah, so this is, if I can zoom in rather, and get sort of his section. So this is the first verse. So yeah, and then chorus, he just goes in harmony. But here is his solo, and I love it so much. I love it so much. Oh. Yeah, ridiculous. He is like so sick on this. But yeah, and that was jazz. And then finally we go into the vocals. And this was absolutely chopped shit, as you can see. Like there's no sort of like one take. Yeah, the two things that I had to sacrifice were recording it all in one take, without getting the notes right, or getting the notes right but doing it in parts, and I chose the latter. And let me just solo. I'm sure I can solo. I don't know why I haven't sent these to a bus or to a. Okay, well, here's the vocals.
Good morning. The new day is dawning. Who was that calling in the morning? 7 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, yo, good morning. Sleep last night was appalling.
And I think one thing that I liked as well in this was that I sort of so the second bit where it goes, man, I'm wasting precious time. I sort of add like just random shit. So if I can just unsolo this, it's this random shit here, or maybe it's not. Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucker.
Yeah. What? Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Like stuff like that. It's just sort of like gives the song a bit more like I don't know I don't know what the word is, but it just sort of carries the beat as well. Even the drums carry the beat, but just the vocals itself has a bit of a bop to it. So like even with I play it with the I'll play it with the backing vocals as well. So literally, this is what it sounds like.
Last night's nightmare. You see that girl I messaged yesterday, but this morning I've just been left on red. Man, I'm wasting precious time. I gotta get ready for work at 9. A very strong coffee will do me just fine. I need to have a good morning.
And then yes, in the chorus, and then the chorus is literally so like calm to sort of mix, because it was just so it's on like,
yo, good morning. Oh, the new day is dawning. It's gonna be a fresh new day, but I'm gonna see this as a warning. I'm like, yo, good morning.
Yeah, and then in regards to the actual sort of like channel strip that I had, all of it was going through the same channel. Probably the reason why my CPU is actually fucking up. I added some EQ. This generally tends to be sort of what my vocal sort of frequencies, where the sweet spots are. And then I had just some saturation to make the vocals actually stand out a bit more in the mix. I don't have a preamp at home, so I have to make up for the fact that I don't have it. So the Saturn saturation is sort of the way to go. It's not the best saturation, that I must admit, but it works well. And because I can't afford Antares Autotune, I have enough money to get Waves Autotune, which which is fine, which is good. For what in fact, it actually was pretty nice. The sort of sound that I was going for. But if you guys want sort of like a good autotune, go and get Antares autotune. Though it's like fucking 400 quid. So make up your mind with that one. But this one like costs like a quarter of that, and even an eighth of that rather, and it sounds pretty nice. So yeah. And yeah, that's the song sort of like basically like sort of done. I didn't add anything to stereo output. Thank you everyone who's watched this video, and hopefully I'll be back again with another breakdown of my next single, which I'll tell you more about if you follow me on Instagram, which is at Josh Tenor UK, TikTok, which is just Josh Tenor, and I think that's where I'm mostly sort of active on. Yeah, so until next time.
Really have a good morning, good morning.